Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, at the start of a brand new week. We're going to begin with Shona Robinson having a bit of a car crash interview in which she admits that taxes, which are already high, will have to go up even higher for ordinary people simply because the SNP needs your money. It has things it needs to do, but it keeps spending the money on a load of old rubbish like pretty brochures and spin doctors instead of actually spending it where it needs to be spent. And of course this means that having wasted all this money, it needs to replace it, and there's only one source of money for the SNP, and that of course is tax, because that's all they know how to do. So take a look at this article, see why once again Shona Robinson is trying to get her stealing little fingers into your hard-earned pennies contained within your wallets and purses, because this bunch cannot run an economy. Here goes. So Shona Robinson knows full well that taxes will need to rise for ordinary Scots to pay for the SNP plans after car crash interview. Hamza Yousaf's deputy was non-committal during an appearance on on BBC Scotland. It was yesterday, BBC Scotland Sunday show, as she looked to defend the Nats programme for government, which is basically a list of fails to come. Now, I looked at this and I saw this picture and it reminded me of something, and I had to go and look. And I'm going to show you this image. See that face? Now let's look at this image. This is, let's move this up and over the way. There. They look alike, don't they? So look, go from that to that to that. There, isn't it? Absolutely very similar looking. Fetal alcohol syndrome. And you know who else appears to have it? Is Greta Thunberg. Same kind of look, isn't it? And one of the problems you have with it, of course, is low IQ. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying that Shona Robinson has got a low IQ, but I am saying she does look like she's got fetal alcohol syndrome. Whether she has or not, as I say. But, well, you can make your own mind up, I think. Anyway, Shona Robinson has been accused of knowing full well that taxes will need to rise further for Scots to pay for the SNP spending plans after she dodged the issue in a TV interview. Now, we know the rule is, if you ask a politician a question that is a yes or no, and they just cannot say the word yes, you know. So will taxes need to rise? And it's a yes or no question. And they'll go, well, this, they mean yes. She cannot say no. She hasn't said no. And if they refuse to say no, but prevaricate, then you know the answer is yes. That's generally the rule with politicians. And so she refused to rule it out. And therefore the answer is yes, taxes will need to rise. The First Minister claimed that his ambitions were unashamedly anti-poverty and pro-growth, which is strange because as far as I can tell, everything that they're announcing and doing is actually going to make people push people more into poverty and actually reduce growth. So he says it's anti-poverty and pro-growth, and what he means is it's anti-growth and pro-poverty. It's the only explanation for everything we do. We keep doing it with everything they do. We show them time and time again that everything they're doing is damaging. So it's a load of crap. They open their mouths and they lie. Fears have been raised that the bill will be passed on to the taxpayer, and anyone earning over $28,000 is already paying more than someone elsewhere in the UK on the same salary, with Scotland now the highest tax part of the country. Miss Robinson evaded, because of course she will, giving a commitment either way in an interview with Martin Gessler. That was blighted by technical issues, probably tugging at the wire because she doesn't want to answer the questions. And after failing to get a straight answer, Gessler eventually put it to her that it was screaming out to me that the SNP was preparing to hike taxes. But she responded that no decisions have been made at all yet, which is politicians speak for, yes, we are about to raise them. Liz Smith, the Scottish Conservative Shadow Finance and Local Government Secretary, knows full well that the SNP are going to hike taxes even further for hard-working Scots this year. In 2023, most Scots will pay more income tax than they would if they lived elsewhere in the UK. And the SNP government has already proposed council tax raises of up to 22.5% for 740,000 homes. So they're going to get you on your income tax, they're going to raise your council tax, and at the same time they're cutting your services, but they are making those lovely pretty brochures, and they are paying a man 120,000 a year for a job that he cannot do, because there's no point of having an independence minister when that government does not have the power for independence. Money down the drain. And of course he's got a whole department that's costing 2 million a year, plus all the, we reiterate them all the time just to make sure they go out, because you've also got all those foreign embassies, as they call them, the £8.5 million a month on spin doctors. There's all these things that, wanking money away, and yet they need to raise taxes so that they can do the basic things that a government needs to do, and they're failing to do them. Miss Robinson's party has failed Scotland because they've put their obsession with independence above anything else, and working families are having to pick up the tab. The Scottish Conservatives, she said, want to shift the focus onto Scotland's real priorities, like reducing NHS waiting times, restoring our schools, and growing Scotland's economy. Now, I've got another story in the pipeline. It come this morning, about another example of the Scottish Government yet again putting licences out because they need to interfere in every single business, and by doing so risk damaging yet another major Scottish industry that provides a lot of rural jobs. But hey, this is the SNP. They can't abide anyone having a business where they don't have their political officer stuck right in the middle of it, and where they can't help but micromanage every aspect of it, because they don't like anyone doing anything that they aren't, dabbling in. Like I say, protection racket. During the interview, Gessler put himself in the shoes of a teacher earning 50 grand a year in Rutherglen and Hamilton West, adding, "I want to know whether you're going to hit me with more tax before I decide whether I'm going to give you my vote in the upcoming by-election." But Miss Robinson failed to answer, instead saying, "We've set out over quite a period of time now that we've taken a new approach to tax, which is based on the principle of progressive and fair taxation, and those with the broadest shoulders pay a bit more." And that's a lie. Everyone's going to be paying more. But we have to counter that, of course, with the cost of living situation and pressure that households are under, and that's why I've convened an expert group of tax experts to look at in the round and what the fair taxation system is going forward looks like. Well, it doesn't look like anything you've got, because you are, by your stints, taxing the poor more than you're taxing the rich, especially with the low emission scheme in Scotland, which is aimed directly at taxing the poor people who can't afford to upgrade their cars, and so they are being taxed more than anyone else. Strange that, isn't it? She's just an awful woman, and I'm pretty sure, like I say, that there might even be some chromosomal issue in there. Just looking at that face, it's not normal, is it? That's not a normal face. There's something definitely amiss. Anyway, I shall stop there and come up. When morons are given areas of responsibility, they make moronic decisions. They make bad decisions. They make very expensive mistakes. And this is no more evident than with this current SNP bunch of clowns, really. They're led by a serial failure. They used to be led by a psychopath. Now they're led by an idiot who surrounded himself with some very, very dubious types in terms of morality, low IQ without a doubt, the inability to speak the truth, crooked, untrustworthy, and none of them are worthy of the position of authority that they've somehow managed to find. And if anything, they've gone into power in order to get that power with another bunch, the Greens, who are unbelievably worse. It is an absolute marriage made in hell, isn't it? And the sooner they've gone, the better. The better for everyone, but certainly the better for Scotland and the better for the Scottish taxpayer. And here's the thing, if you are a taxpayer in Scotland and you're earning more than £28,000 a year, you would be much, much better off without this assembly at Holyrood, because you'd be taxed at the UK rates, and in terms of cash you'd be fantastically better off. But hey, I don't know how to answer you for that. It's up to the people who are about to cast their vote in Rutherglen and Hamilton West to send an absolute horrific message to the SNP. And I said it yesterday and I'll say it now, for heaven's sake, doesn't matter what your normal party is, vote Labour to send the message. No one else is going to get in. The Tories, you're not going to get in. If you're a Tory voter, accept you're not going to get a Tory MP, vote Labour. Lib Dem, accept you're not going to get a Lib Dem, vote Labour. Simply so that the Labour vote is so high, it will utterly humiliate Humza Yousaf and hopefully lead to a premature end for him at this year's SNP conference in October. And I will stop there. I will thank you very much for watching this first video of the day, and I hope that you're going to like the video and let it spread and go wide. And also that if you haven't yet subscribed, now is the time. Hit the button, help us grow. We're on our way to 7,000. It'd be great to get there. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, they all are morons. Bye.